The great hall of the Galactic Council buzzed with worried voices. Hundreds of different alien species sat in the curved rows of seats, all looking down at the hologram floating in the center of the room. The image showed another burning space station, the third one this month. Council leader Blue Wing spread his feathered arms wide, calling for silence. His silver feathers shimmered under the bright lights as he spoke. My fellow council members, we face a crisis. The pirates of the Outer Rim grow bolder each day. A small green-skinned alien stood up. The bright star colonies are being destroyed one by one. We must do something. His voice shook with fear. More voices joined in, each crying out about lost ships and ruined space stations. Blue Wing raised his hand again. Our peacekeeping forces are already spread thin across 4 different sectors. The border dispute between the crystal mines and the deep swimmers takes up most of our ships. He paused, his feathers drooping. We simply don't have enough forces to handle another crisis. In the back of the hall, an old alien with gray scales and wise eyes slowly stood up. Professor Longmemory had studied more species than anyone else in the galaxy. There might be another option, he said quietly, but everyone turned to listen. We recently discovered a species from a high-gravity world. They call themselves humans. Shocked whispers filled the room. Everyone had heard about the humans. They came from a planet that should have been too harsh for intelligent life. Their world had dangerous levels of oxygen, crushing gravity, and extreme temperature swings. Most aliens needed special suits just to walk on Earth. Impossible, shouted someone from the middle rows. They barely have space travel. They only figured out faster than light drives 10 years ago. Professor Longmemory nodded. True, but they've built quite a fleet in that time. And more importantly, he pulled up new images showing human ships. They were ugly by alien standards. Thick armor, oversized engines, and built to survive conditions that would tear most ships apart. They build everything to survive their homeworld's harsh conditions. What we consider emergency-level threats, they consider normal operating parameters. Blue Wing leaned forward, his feathers twitching with interest. Are you suggesting we ask these Deathworlders for help? They've been trying to join the galactic community, Professor Longmemory said. They keep offering their help, but most species are too afraid to work with them. This could be a chance to see what they can really do. The council chamber erupted in argument. Some members were horrified at the idea of asking primitives for help. Others pointed out that they had no other choice. The pirates were getting worse, and the peaceful species of the Bright Star Alliance couldn't defend themselves. Finally, Blue Wing called for a vote. The result was close, but desperate times called for desperate measures. Send the message to Earth, he ordered. Tell them everything about the pirate threat. Let's see how these Deathworlders handle a real crisis. The message was sent that same day. As it traveled through space toward Earth, many council members wondered if they had made a huge mistake. Humans were known to be aggressive, strong, and surprisingly clever. What if asking for their help only created a bigger problem? But Professor Longmemory smiled as he walked back to his office. He had studied humans more than anyone else. He knew what most aliens saw as primitive technology was actually careful engineering. Human ships weren't ugly. They were tough. Their weapons weren't simple. They were reliable. And most importantly, humans had something that many advanced species had lost: the drive to protect others. They think we're calling primitives for help, he said to himself, looking out at the stars. But I think we're about to witness something extraordinary. The galaxy is about to learn why evolution on a death world produces the strongest allies you could ever have. The distress call raced through space, carrying the hopes of peaceful species with it. Earth's response would change the galaxy forever, but not in the way anyone expected. Admiral James Stone stood at the window of Orbital Command Station, watching Earth spin slowly below. His weathered face reflected in the reinforced glass as he read the alien distress message for the third time. After 10 years of being largely ignored by the galactic community, humanity finally had its chance to prove itself. They're desperate, He said to the room of officers behind him. These pirates have them scared. Good thing we built our fleet expecting the worst. He turned around, his simple blue uniform bearing the patches of both Earth Force and the newer Terran Space Command. The main screen showed the locations of human ships across the solar system. Red dots marked each vessel, forming a web of protection around humanity's home. How quickly can we gather a response fleet? He asked. Captain Maria Reynolds stepped forward, her dark hair tied back tight against her head. She was known for running the toughest ship in the fleet, the TSS Thunderchild. Sir, we can have 20 ships ready in 48 hours. The Thunderchild can lead them. Make it 30 ships, Stone said, walking to the central hologram table. The aliens think we're primitive because we build thick armor and strong engines. Let's show them why we build things to last. The room burst into activity. Orders flew out across the solar system. Ships began breaking orbit from Mars, Venus, and the outer colonies. Each one was a testament to human engineering. Built to survive solar flares, asteroid impacts, and the crushing pressures of gas giant atmospheres. On the Thunderchild's bridge, Captain Reynolds watched her crew prepare for departure. The ship had been designed to enter Earth's atmosphere in an emergency, which meant its hull could take hits that would tear alien ships apart. Engineering. How are the engines? She called over the comm. Running hot and ready, Captain. Chief Engineer Bill Parker responded from deep in the ship. These aliens don't know that we test our engines in the sun's corona. We're ready for anything they throw at us. Within 36 hours, faster than any alien race would have thought possible, 30 ships gathered near Earth's moon. Each one carried crews who had trained in the harshest conditions humanity could create. They had practiced in vacuum, in crushing depths, and in burning heat. Admiral Stone addressed the fleet from Orbital Command. Men and women of Earth Force, you carry humanity's hopes with you. The galaxy thinks we're newcomers, barely able to reach the stars. He paused, looking at each ship on his display. Show them what humans can do when others need help. Show them why Earth made us strong. The fleet aligned for the jump to faster-than-light speed. Their engines, built to push against Earth's heavy gravity, had more power than most alien ships twice their size. Captain Reynolds sat in her command chair, feeling the deep hum of the Thunderchild systems through her boots. Navigation, she called. Set course for the Bright Star Alliance territory. Tactical, bring all weapons to ready status. Communications, inform the fleet we jump in 5 minutes. As the final countdown began, an alien observer watched from a small ship nearby. He couldn't believe how quickly humans had organized their response. His species would have needed weeks of meetings just to decide which ships to send. The human ships began to glow as their FTL drives powered up. They didn't look sleek or beautiful like alien vessels. They looked tough, solid, and unstoppable. Like the species that built them, they were made to endure. Jump in 3, 2, 1. Captain Reynolds' voice carried across the fleet. In a flash of light, 30 human ships vanished into faster-than-light travel. They left behind a shocked alien observer who couldn't wait to tell the Council how quickly the primitives had responded. The fleet thundered through space toward the pirate-held systems. Humanity's first real test in galactic politics had begun, and they were determined to show the galaxy exactly what a species from a Deathworld could do. The human fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of pirate space. 30 ships, their dark hulls reflecting distant starlight, moved in perfect formation. On the bridge of the TSS Thunderchild, Captain Reynolds studied the sensor readings of their first target, a pirate supply station. Multiple enemy ships detected, reported Jack Wilson from the sensor station. His fingers flew over the controls, built thick and sturdy for hands evolved on a high-gravity world. They're scrambling to react. Looks like we surprised them. The pirates had never seen ships like these before. Where their vessels were sleek and fast, the human ships looked like floating fortresses. The pirates' first mistake was thinking this meant they were slow. Enemy ships launching. Wilson called out. 5. No, 8 vessels. They're using standard pirate attack formation. Captain Reynolds smiled. The pirates were using tactics that worked against lighter alien ships. Send to all ships. Execute battle plan Earth. Let's show them how we fight. The human fleet split apart with surprising speed. The pirates had expected the heavy-looking ships to lumber along, but humanity's vessels could accelerate and turn faster than anything their size. Each ship's engines, designed to escape Earth's brutal gravity well, gave them power the pirates couldn't match. They're firing. The warning came just as the first pirate shots streaked across space. The pirates expected their weapons to tear through the primitive human ships. Instead, their energy beams splashed against hull armor designed to survive meteor strikes and solar flares. Minimal damage, reported Susan Cooper from Damage Control. Our armor is holding just fine, Captain. These weapons are nothing compared to our testing runs near the sun. Now it was humanity's turn. All ships, return fire, Captain Reynolds ordered. Show them what real weapons can do. The human fleet's guns roared to life. They weren't elegant or advanced, just solid, reliable weapons built by a species that had spent centuries perfecting the art of warfare. The first volley caught 3 pirate ships, their shields failing against weapons designed to work in Earth's thick atmosphere. 2 enemy ships disabled. Wilson reported with professional calm. A third is retreating. The others are regrouping. The pirates tried a new tactic, attempting to surround the human fleet. They didn't realize they were falling into a trap. Captain Reynolds watched them move exactly where she wanted them. Spring the trap, she ordered. All ships execute pincer movement. The human fleet moved with practiced precision. Ships that looked too heavy to maneuver suddenly accelerated like striking snakes. The pirates found themselves caught between 2 walls of human vessels, their escape routes cut off. Enemy ships are panicking, Wilson said. They're breaking formation. 3 more are trying to run. But running wasn't easy when your opponents were designed for pursuit. Humanity evolved as persistence hunters, and their ships reflected this heritage. The fleeing pirates discovered that human vessels could maintain full battle speed far longer than their own ships. This is Captain Reynolds to all enemy vessels. She broadcast on all frequencies. Your ships are outmatched. Your weapons cannot harm us. Surrender now. 2 pirate ships surrendered immediately, their crews shocked by the efficiency of the human attack. The others tried one last desperate attack, charging straight at the human line. Braced for impact, Reynolds ordered calmly. The pirate ships fired everything they had. The human ships took the hits without flinching, their thick armor barely scratched. Return fire. Disable their engines. The battle ended minutes later. The remaining pirate ships floated dead in space, their engines destroyed by precise human fire. As Captain Reynolds looked at the tactical display showing their victory, a message came in from the Alien Council observers watching nearby. Impossible. The alien message read, "Your ships, your tactics. We've never seen anything like this. Send them our response," Reynolds told her communications officer. "Tell them, this is just the beginning. Now you know why Earth made us strong." The first battle was over. The galaxy had just learned its first lesson about underestimating humans, but there were many more lessons to come. "They're leading us into the asteroid field," Captain Reynolds announced, watching the pirate ship dart between the massive rocks ahead. The remains of 3 shattered moons filled this region of space, creating one of the most dangerous debris fields in the sector. The pirates thought they were clever. Most alien ships would never follow them into such a hazardous area. But they didn't know that human ships regularly trained in Earth's crowded orbital space, dodging thousands of pieces of space junk left over from centuries of space exploration. "All ships, combat spread formation," Reynolds ordered. "Remember your Earth orbital training. These rocks are nothing compared to dodging satellites at home." Tom Baker, the Thunderchild's chief engineer, spoke up from his station. "Captain, I have an idea. Those mining charges we brought along, We could use them like the old depth charges from Earth's naval battles." Reynolds smiled. Human creativity at its finest. "Make it happen, Chief." Tactical. Prepare to modify our weapon systems. The human fleet split into smaller groups, weaving through the asteroid field with surprising grace. Their thick hulls, built to withstand meteor impacts, brushed aside smaller rocks that would have crippled lighter alien ships. "Pirates are trying to circle around behind us," reported Wilson from sensors. "They think they've trapped us in here." "Little do they know," Reynolds said. "We're the ones doing the trapping." "Chief Baker, are those charges ready?" "Yes, Captain. Modified them myself. They'll track any ship's engine signature and explode with enough force to disable their shields." The pirates struck first, their ships emerging from behind larger asteroids to fire at the human vessels. But they weren't ready for what happened next. "Release the charges," Reynolds commanded. "All ships, execute pattern Earth." The human fleet scattered in seemingly random directions. The pirates, thinking they had caused confusion, moved in for the kill. Then the mining charges activated. Converted by Baker's quick thinking, the charges homed in on the pirates' engine signatures. The first explosion caught a pirate ship completely by surprise, its shields failing as the blast wave hit it. More explosions followed as other charges found their targets. "It's working," Baker shouted over the comm. "Their shields aren't designed for this kind of attack." The human ships pressed their advantage. They had trained for years to fight in crowded spaces, using asteroids for cover just like they used debris fields around Earth. Their thick armor let them bounce off rocks that would have destroyed other ships. 3 enemy ships disabled, Wilson reported. 2 more trying to escape through the denser part of the field. "Not happening," Reynolds said. "All ships, pursuit formation. Show them why humans are apex predators." The chase through the asteroid field looked like a dance. Human ships moved with practiced precision, their heavy armor now an advantage as they shouldered aside smaller rocks. The pirates found themselves herded into a trap, forced into a pocket of clear space surrounded by asteroids. "Nowhere left to run," Reynolds broadcast to the pirate ships. "Your fancy engines don't help much when you're boxed in, do they?" The remaining pirate vessels surrendered one by one. They had never seen ships fight like this, using the dangerous environment as a weapon. As the human fleet secured their prisoners, alien observers watched in amazement. "Message from the Council observers," the communications officer announced. "They want to know how we learned to fight in these conditions." Reynolds looked out at the asteroid field, thinking of Earth's crowded orbital spaces. "Tell them this is just normal operating procedure for us. When you come from Earth, you learn to turn every danger into an advantage." The Battle of Broken Moons, as it came to be known, taught the galaxy another lesson about humanity. What other species saw as obstacles, humans saw as opportunities. But the pirates still had one last stronghold, and the biggest battle was yet to come. The massive gas giant loomed ahead of the human fleet, its swirling storms creating patterns of red and orange. Hidden in its radiation belt was the pirates' main base, a location they thought was safe from attack. After all, no alien species would risk their ships in such deadly conditions. "Radiation levels are intense," Wilson reported from his sensor station on the Thunderchild. "The pirates are using the storm as a shield. Any other species' sensors would be blind in there." Captain Reynolds nodded. "Good thing we designed our ships to handle solar storms back home. This is nothing compared to what we deal with near Earth's sun." She opened a channel to the fleet. "All ships, activate radiation shields. We're going in." The human fleet pushed forward into the radiation belt. Their heavy shields, built to protect against Earth's Van Allen belts, easily deflected the radiation that would have fried other ship systems. "Multiple contacts ahead," Wilson called out. "Big station. Looks like their main base. At least 20 ships guarding it." Lieutenant Alex Cooper stood ready with his boarding team. They wore powered armor designed for high-gravity environments, making them nearly unstoppable in the station's lighter artificial gravity. Boarding teams ready, Captain. Just get us close enough. Reynolds studied the tactical display. Time to show them how Earth wolves hunt in packs. Split the fleet into attack groups of 3. Surround them like we practiced in the Jupiter war games. The human ships broke formation, forming smaller groups that began circling the pirate base. The pirates had never seen this strategy before. Most species attacked in one large group. They didn't understand they were watching hunting patterns developed over millions of years of human evolution. They're scrambling their ships, Wilson reported. They don't know which group to focus on. Perfect. Reynolds smiled. All groups, close in. Boarding teams, stand by. The human ships struck from multiple directions at once. Their thick armor shrugged off the pirates' desperate fire as they pushed closer to the station. The pirates found themselves fighting enemies that seemed to ignore damage that would cripple normal ships. Group 2, break through their line, Reynolds ordered. Get Cooper's team to that station. The Thunderchild's sister ships punched through the pirate formation. Cooper and his team waited in their drop pods, ready for launch. They wore suits that would let them survive in space for hours, standard equipment for humans, but amazing to other species. Launching boarding pods now, Cooper reported. His team shot from their ships toward the station. The pirates tried to shoot them down, but the pods were too small and too fast. We're in. Cooper's voice crackled over the comm as his team breached the station. These pirates have never fought in high gravity. They can barely move in their own station while we're charging down the halls. The pirates inside the station found themselves facing their worst nightmare. Human boarding teams in powered armor, moving faster and hitting harder than should be possible. Cooper's team cleared corridor after corridor, their earth-born strength and endurance overwhelming all resistance. Main control room secured, Cooper reported 20 minutes later. You should see their faces, Captain. They can't believe we fought our way through their deadly radiation belt. Reynolds opened a channel to the remaining pirate ships. Your main base is captured. Your defense fleet is in ruins. Surrender now, or face the consequences. The pirates, watching human ships shrug off their weapons while easily managing the radiation belt they thought would protect them, gave up. One by one, they powered down their ships. As the human fleet secured their victory, the alien observers sent another message to the Galactic Council. The humans have done it. They've captured a base we thought was impregnable. Their primitive technology and biology turned out to be their greatest strength. Reynolds looked at the gas giants' swirling storms. Send word to Earth Command. Tell them the pirates' main base has fallen. All it took was showing them why humans are the galaxy's apex predators. The pirate shipyard sprawled across the space between 3 asteroids, connected by massive energy bridges. This was their last stronghold, where they built and repaired their raiding ships. The remaining pirate fleet gathered here for their final stand. 40 ships against the 30 human vessels that had chased them across the sector. They think they have the advantage in numbers, Captain Reynolds said, studying the enemy formation. Time to show them why that doesn't matter. She opened a channel to an unusual ally, a group of human mining ships that had followed the fleet. The miners had volunteered to help, bringing their heavy industrial equipment with them. Mining Chief Rogers, are your ships in position? Reynolds asked. Ready and waiting, Captain, Rogers replied. These rocks aren't much different from the ones we crack open back home. Just say the word. The pirates watched the human fleet approach, wondering why civilian mining ships followed behind them. They were about to learn another harsh lesson about human ingenuity. All ships, battle formation, Reynolds ordered. Miners, start your work. Let's recreate the asteroid braking maneuver we perfected in the Kuiper Belt. The mining ships activated their industrial cutting beams, tools designed to slice through the toughest asteroids in Earth's solar system. They began cutting precise patterns into the 3 asteroids supporting the shipyard. Enemy ships advancing, Wilson reported from his sensor station. They're trying to stop the miners. Not happening, Reynolds said. Defensive positions, everyone. Show them what Earth ships can take. The human warships formed a wall between the miners and the approaching pirates. The pirates opened fire with everything they had, their energy weapons lighting up space. But human ships, built to survive atmospheric re-entry, absorbed punishment that would have destroyed other vessels. Hull armor holding at 80%, reported Susan Cooper from Damage Control. These hits are nothing compared to diving into Earth's atmosphere. The miners kept working, their cutting beams slicing deeper into the asteroids. The pirates realized too late what was happening. When they built their shipyard, they never considered that someone would be crazy enough to attack the asteroids themselves. First asteroid is ready, Rogers called out. Starting Phase 2. The mining ships fired their plasma drills, tools normally used to break up asteroids for mineral extraction. The carefully cut asteroids began to crack along precise lines, sending chunks of rock tumbling through space. All ships, execute Operation Avalanche, Reynolds commanded. Human ships fired their engines at full power, using their gravity manipulators to direct the flying rocks. The pirates found themselves caught in a manufactured meteor shower. Their lighter ships couldn't handle impacts that human vessels dealt with regularly. 10 enemy ships disabled by debris impacts, Wilson reported. Their formation is breaking up. The shipyard's support structure began to fail as one of its anchor points crumbled. Energy bridges flickered and died. Pirates abandoned their posts, fleeing in escape pods as their proud shipyard started to tear itself apart. Message from the pirate commander, the communications officer announced. They're surrendering, Captain. They say no one's ever beaten them like this before. Reynolds stood from her command chair, watching the dying shipyard through the bridge window. Tell them we accept their surrender. And tell them this is why you don't underestimate humans. We turn everything into a weapon, even rocks in space. The remaining pirate ships powered down their weapons. As human crews began rescue operations for the escape pods, alien observers sent urgent messages to their council. They had just watched 30 human ships and a handful of miners defeat a force that had terrorized their space for years. Send word to Earth Command, Reynolds ordered. The pirates' last stronghold has fallen. The Bright Star Alliance space is secure. She paused, looking at her crew. And tell them humanity just proved why we deserve our place among the stars. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council looked very different from the day they had first called for human help. Gone was the fear and worry. Now the vast chamber buzzed with excitement as representatives from hundreds of species gathered to honor Earth's fleet. Admiral Stone stood tall in his dress uniform, facing the council. Behind him, Captain Reynolds and her crew represented the ships and soldiers who had broken the pirate threat. The crews of 30 ships had done what the galaxy's finest couldn't, brought peace to the Bright Star Alliance. Council leader Blue Wing spread his silver feathers wide. 3 months ago, we called to Earth for help, thinking we had no other choice. Today, we realize we couldn't have made a better choice. His voice carried through the chamber. The human fleet didn't just defeat the pirates. They showed us a whole new way of thinking about space combat. Professor Longmemory stepped forward, his old eyes bright with pride. I've studied humans longer than anyone. I knew their primitive technology wasn't primitive at all. It was practical, efficient, built to last. He gestured to the human crews. They took everything that made their homeworld harsh and turned it into strength. Images appeared above the council floor, showing human ships fighting through radiation belts, surviving asteroid impacts, and using mining tools as weapons. The gathered aliens watched in amazement as the recordings showed what Earth's fleet had accomplished. Therefore, Blue Wing announced, the Council has made a historic decision. We hereby offer humanity a permanent seat on the Defense Council. Your experience, your technology, and your unique way of thinking are exactly what the galaxy needs. Admiral Stone stepped forward to accept. Earth is honored, he said simply. We've waited 10 years to prove ourselves to the galaxy. All we needed was a chance to show what humans can do. Captain Reynolds watched from her place in the ceremony as alien representatives crowded around the human engineers and ship designers. Everyone wanted to learn how Earth ships were built. The same thick armor and powerful engines that aliens had once mocked were now seen as brilliant innovations. Messages are coming in from across the galaxy, Wilson whispered to Reynolds as they watched. Dozens of species are requesting human protection for their trade routes. They're calling us the Guardian species now. The ceremony continued as Blue Wing presented medals to the human crews. Each medal was made from metals found only on the most dangerous worlds, a fitting tribute to Earth's children. But the greatest surprise came next. We have also decided, Blue Wing announced, to officially change how we refer to humans in galactic records. The term Deathworlder will no longer be used as a warning. From now on, it is a mark of honor, a sign of strength, determination, and the will to protect others. The council chamber erupted in cheers. Species that had once feared to work with humans now competed for their attention. Everyone wanted to learn from the people who could turn harsh conditions into advantages. After the ceremony, Admiral Stone found Captain Reynolds looking out at the stars through the council station's windows. "Quite a change from 3 months ago," he said. "Now everyone wants to be our friend." Reynolds smiled. "They finally understand, sir. Everything that made Earth tough made us stronger. Every challenge our world threw at us taught us something valuable." She turned to look at the gathering behind them. "We're not just survivors from a harsh world. We're protectors who can handle anything the galaxy throws at us." As the celebration continued, news spread across the galaxy. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, not as primitives, but as guardians. The species that evolved on a world that should have been too harsh for life had become the defenders of those who needed protection. Earth's fleet had changed everything. The age of hiding from humanity was over. The age of learning from them had begun.